it's Ian Troup here at the Franklin Club, just coming off a lock style course that we did, which is really teaching people the traditional way of fishing from a drifting boat. So really good session, covered everything from techniques to how to set a drogue to something called watercraft. So really fun day and fish caught by everybody. A fly called the Blob is a great fly for beginners. So it's a relatively modern fly, and so it really is essentially something called fritz, or all this fuzzy material wrapped around a hook. And the reason it's good for beginners is two reasons. You catch a lot of fish. It's pretty easy to fish. It'll catch fish in most conditions, but also because it has a lot of puffiness around the hook bend, it's really good with kids and stuff. It'll usually bounce off your face or your arm or something, so you find people don't really get hooked per se with the fly, which is really not the intent. So it's a safe fly. It's a really good fly to get confidence in, and you can actually fish a bunch of different techniques. So it's a fantastic beginner fly. Techniques on how to fish a blob fly are many. Without going into too much detail, you can fish as much as a single fly on a floating line, and what we would call that is fishing on the drop. What that would mean is the fly is going to actually sink at just a natural rate, a lot like a pellet or food falling in the water. By that, you just cast it out and just wait for the fly to sink to the bottom, and then pull it back up and repeat. Another way to fish it would be on any line, from a sinking line to a floating line, is just to pull it back. So we would say pulling it back, you're retrieving a line like this or something like this, or any way of moving the fly. That can be very, very effective as well. And then the other way we fish it is called an atima fly. So it is a bright fly, usually something called an attractor. If you actually have more than one fly on your line, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll put a small natural flies in behind it. If the fish don't want to eat the blob, they will turn away and eat the smaller flies. So those would be kind of standard techniques. You can actually fish a blob any way you want, but those would be the ways that most people do it. So I think if you're thinking of getting anybody started, it is literally the easiest fly, and by that you're taking one material, only one, around the hook shank and just wrapping it all the way up. So I think that would be the most basic possible technique. You take some thread, you take one material, wrap it around the hook, and learn how to tie it off. So great fly. I mean, it's no different than a world champion fly tyer would tie it than a 5-year-old. That's all you do. But it gets people involved. You can catch a fish on something they tied themselves. And because it works so well, it's a very economical way to tie up a lot of flies and actually save them a pocketbook again. A new advice would be take advantage of something like they have at the Franklin Club, which I think is a real special, is that you have pro staff and people who can teach you. I think too many people just jump into it and try and learn bad habits right away. Book time with the pros here or pros somewhere else to learn the proper techniques of casting, because it's not practice makes perfect, it's proper practice makes perfect. So an hour or two with an instructor on your casting and some of the basics of fishing will make it much more enjoyable. And then when you're learning and practicing on the water, you're actually practicing the right way. So for sure, book time with your local pro and take advantage of the folks at the Franklin Club, because you get 5 pros included, and that's there's sessions going on every weekend, and I think taking advantage of those is a must-have for anybody who wants to get better at fishing.